I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Phyllis, could we have roll call, please?
Dan Sawyer.
Here.
Craig Rosenthal.
Here.
Matt Dart.
Here.
Tyler Perry.
Here.
Wiley Sir.
Here. You were all emailed a copy of our minutes from our July 2nd meeting. If there are any amendments to those, I'd like to know. If not, I'd look for a motion to approve them.
Move. July?
Is that June 18th?
Okay.
Today's July 2nd. Thank you, Craig. From the June 18th meeting. Is that a motion, Cam? Motion.
Yes.
Second from
Cam.
Cam? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. First on the agenda tonight, we have Larry Macklin, Interim Executive Director for the Adams County Economic Development Corporation, and he's here this evening with some guests, which I think I'll probably introduce here in a minute.
We will.
And I think he is here to request a tax abatement and the passage of a request for a declaratory resolution for something that's going to be great for Decatur. So Larry, I'll let you kind of take it from there.
Thank you, Mayor Meyer, members of the council, Phyllis, City Clerk, and Councilor Baker. I am grateful for the opportunity to bring you a proposal of significance in my mind. Good things happen to a community engaged in a positive transition, and good things do happen to a community that embraces change. The old saying, or the old adage, that a community that is stagnated is destined to fail, but a community that grows will be because people have recognized the need for growth to prosper. So one of the greatest benefits is when leaders from afar, though, if you will, recognize our local positive trends, and better still, when they recognize the quality of our workforce and welcoming atmosphere. We all win. Well, once again, in the economic development arena, we found ourselves engaged in a project which is considered quite competitive with other states, and we'll just leave it to that particular comment. So because of that, though, we come to you tonight to ask for your support relative to a proposed expansion for our friends at Rev Recreation Group. And if we are successful in attracting this project, and if we are successful in bringing jobs and investment into our community, it will be significant. So if I may, part of the process we go through in economic development is to negotiate and provide incentives and reasons for a business to locate or expand here and provide investment and jobs. And that process can be long and quite competitive at times, and that is why we are here tonight. This project itself has taken several twists and turns over the last several months, but we have been working with the state of Indiana, consultants for the company, two of which are with me this evening, and others to design a package of reasons and incentives to attract this project, and for the owners of Rev and Recreation Group to bring their project to Indiana, specifically Decatur and Adams County. So locally, part of that package is the strength of our demographics, as you all know, and the quality of our workforce. We can offer workforce development assistance and are in conversation with the Northeast Indiana Works, or many of you know that as Work One Northeast, for opportunities that they may have for this attraction process. The company is also in negotiations for incentives with the State of Indiana Economic Development Corporation. We should know the outcome of that probably or hopefully before the next meeting. Tonight you have the opportunity before you to begin the local process. There's a state, there's a local process, and with an offer to the company from the city of Decatur, and that's why we're here. And while you have before you statements of benefits, I assume, you have before you the statements of benefit of the SB1s, which describe the estimated numbers of what Rev Recreation Group is bringing to the table, and I emphasize estimates. I can summarize. They are speaking of a total investment in new building construction and existing building improvements over a 5-year span at 224 East Plant, as we know it, east of town here, of about $5.75 million. Secondly, in additional new machinery and equipment, fixtures, and retooling investment of about $13 million plus. Total investment of $19.5 million. In addition, my friends, they are estimating 300 new Indiana jobs over the next 4 years, with an eventual total new payroll of nearly $13 million per year. That's calculated via an average of the wages, in case anybody's running their calculator. It's an average of the wages over a 4-year period, with an ultimate wage, and it's an estimate, ultimate wage after they are fully operational, which you'll see on the SB1s, of $21.56 an hour. Also, that could create locally new COIT and CEDAT dollars of approximately $219,000. A super investment. Should we make this happen here in Decatur, here in Adams County, Indiana, it's apparent that Rev Recreation Group has found a happy home here, or we wouldn't be here tonight asking for this consideration. So as part of this whole process, I'm here this evening, as the mayor said, representing the Adams County Economic Development Corporation with a recommendation and an official request application, which I think you have before you, to begin the journey of creating an economic revitalization area, an ERA as we know it as, for the Rev Recreation Group located, again, at 1031 US 224 East. This will begin the process of allowing a phase-in of property taxes on this investment over a period of 10 years for both their proposed real estate improvements and their personal property investments. That is saying, the new taxes would gradually increase over the abated period of time. So tonight's process is commonly known as the declaratory resolution, which I believe you have before you as well, number 2019-3. Also, Mr. Chairman, with us this evening is Doug Horman from the Rev Group, and John Casey and Patrick Hanlon from Deloitte. Consultants for the Rev Recreation Group for this project. It's been a pleasure to work with these gentlemen as we work through this process. That's what we asked.
Very good. Thank you, Larry. It's exciting.
Very exciting.
Just a question. Is this on the Rev property now? You're acquiring more property? Same property? Just more building on that property? Good.
Okay. In the application, and whereas you're asking for the 10 years, I know that oftentimes...
10 years on both.
Yeah, 10 years on both. I know that in the past, it's been not our practice to go that long. However, I think that this is a large, substantial, and I know you and I have talked privately, and I think it's worthy of the 10-year abatement. And with that, I would recommend to council that we accept this and move forward with a declaratory resolution. Any comments from council? If
This is still subject, like all tax abatements, to
the SB1.
meeting that criteria that's yearly reviewed.
Yeah. Doug, or any of you, can you, where it says on here an estimated, 300 jobs, now that's, I assume, phased in. Do we have any idea, like in a year from now, where you would expect that to be? Is it 100 in a year? Is it all 300, or where we?
No, I think 75 is what it is.
Okay, because, that's something that's a little confusing when we get that at next May, before next May 15th, I think it is, that we look at...
Spaced in over the...
Yeah, we look at this and say, oh, they said they're going to have 300 jobs and they've only got 100. Okay, well, it's good to have it in the record here that it's a phase-in and it's going to...
Correct.
Yes, come over a period of years, so... Other questions or comments from council?
I'd love to see the involvement the Rev Group has had in the community. We all know many people that work for the group, but it seems in recent years, they've really stepped up to sponsor different events within the city, a big player within the ballpark project, and we really appreciate...
Huge player with the ballpark.
We really appreciate everything that they are doing.
I would think that
Good
service
services.
center, the service center
center,
that they
yeah.
put in a few years ago is a statement in its own. I mean, that's a class act, and serves their people that bring them in from all over the United States.
It showed a huge commitment, and it's very visible as well.
Exactly.
Being right there on US 27.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
Just another Rev-specific question, is this for motorhome building or other products that Rev builds? Okay.
So with that, Tim, are we looking then for a motion to introduce the declaratory resolution?
Yeah, if there's no other questions of council, basically I've reviewed the declaratory resolution. It requests a 10-year abatement for both the new equipment as well as the building improvements. As most tax abatement requests also do, it waives any irregularities in not meeting deadlines or perhaps starting the project before the abatement is given. So that's typical in these types of declaratory resolutions. So
Is
I
there a
find it to be in
timeline for
order.
construction, Doug? You know? Oh, okay. So you'd be looking for a motion then, Tim?
Motion to introduce declaratory resolution number 2019-3 by short title only, please.
I'll make a motion to introduce Resolution 2019-3, a declaratory resolution, by
Aye.
short title only.
Thank you. Have a motion?
Second.
And a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Tim?
Declaratory resolution number 2019-3, short title, Common Council of the City of Decatur, Indiana, declaratory resolution for the designation of an economic revitalization area upon the application of Rev Recreation Group, Inc.
Okay, thank you. So with that, then, I would look for a motion to pass declaratory resolution 2019-3.
I'll make a motion then to pass the declaratory resolution 2019-3.
Second.
I have a motion and a second for passage of declaratory resolution 2019-3. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, thank you. Thank you, Larry. Thank you, Doug. Thank you, gentlemen.
I will communicate that information to the state. Thank you very much, and we would hope that maybe we could come back on the 16th.
Yeah, that's what I was just
Yeah,
going to
the
say.
next-
We need
the
to
next-
schedule
the
public
next-
hearing for the confirming.
The next thing I have on the agenda here is that we need to schedule a public hearing.
Thank you
Yes.
very much.
Thank you.
The public hearing, Tim, would be for, well, maybe it would be the,
You have a public hearing to seek public comment with regard to the preliminary granting of the abatement. After the public hearing, then the council will consider a confirming resolution, at which point you either confirm the adoption of the declaratory resolution, you modify and confirm, or you reject. So it's the next step in the abatement process. After that is done, then there's one additional step, because this is within the allocation area for the redevelopment commission. The redevelopment commission will also act on a resolution after council has taken action on the confirming resolution, assuming that that's approved.
thank you. So, I would need a motion that we schedule a public hearing
So moved.
on the
July
July
16th.
16th at 7:30 p.m. Sound okay, Larry? Second. I have a motion and a second to schedule a public hearing at our next council meeting on July 16th at 7:30 p.m. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Anything else, Larry, this evening? Great. Great news. Thank you for joining us this evening. Okay, next thing I'm going to go to, Melissa, let's let Brielle and you come up and tell us a little bit about Some more exciting news, I think. Last night, thank you, gentlemen, Greater Decatur Advisory Group met. We had a really good meeting, I thought, and Brielle attended her first Greater Decatur meeting, and as you all know, we've hired Brielle to assist us with what we have been referring to, the Creative Engagement Center down the street here. And one of the things we tasked her with was to come up with a name for the place. So you want to take her from there, guys? Girls? Ladies?
Go ahead, Brielle. Okay, so the name that I would like to propose would be the Hive, like a place where a bunch of busy bees are working. And it's a creative co-op, and then the words at the bottom would not necessarily be on the sign. They would be on the window, maybe like as a sticker, and they spell out the Hive.
For harness, innovate, visualize, engage. Thus the acronym, the Hive. And it was overwhelmingly accepted by the Greater Decatur group. I thought it was very creative, and I shared it with the Biggs team today to get their thought, and they too thought it was a great name. So comments from council here?
My only comment is, and this doesn't necessarily have to go in the paper, but there's something going on that there's dead bees. I swept up 100 of them in front of the jewelry store today. So I don't know if they wrestled up some hive at the project, but
It was fortuitous.
for days in a row I've been sweeping up bees from this project.
Hive is not dead. Hive is alive.
I like it alive. I just find it ironic that I've been sweeping up bees for days.
Comments? You like it? You don't like it?
I like it.
I think it's very creative.
I do too.
I do too.
I like it. A lot better than the 50 options I gave her. And it beats Creative Engagement Center. I mean, that was just kind of the generic thing that we've been saying for the last year here, so.
No, I think this is, so I was actually down last week at the Shaka Shack in Monroe, and there's a lady, this is the second time I run into her in there. She's from Bern. She travels all the way to Fort Wayne to go to the Atrium, co-working space. And the first thing she asked me is like, when's this space going to be available? Right? Was there an opportunity that I can come and utilize this thing? So I think it's exciting. I think this could certainly be used, and this is probably a lot more appealing than, again, and then just simply the creative engagement system.
So, I see you have a couple gentlemen here. I think they're tagging along with you tonight. Are you guys here with Brielle? You just here for support? Huh? You like it, Greg? Yeah. Good.
So this will allow Brielle to go ahead and get started with some social media, with plans for the sign for the space,
Doing
that kind
an
of
announcement
stuff.
of the whole thing, and
Right.
yeah,
So,
yep, I agree. So step one, check. So, okay, I don't even think we need to make a motion, but by consensus, I would say that we all like it, and for the record, we have a name for our new business down the street, or entity down the street, our creative co-op called The Hive. So, thank you, Brielle, and thanks, Melissa.
thank you.
Brielle, I guess, and Melissa, I assume you would make that rendering available to the media? You can do that? Yep. Thank you.
What was the last one? Was it
Engage.
Engage. Lenny, you ready to introduce that young man beside you there?
Harness, innovate, visualize, and engage.
I just wanted to introduce one of our new officers here. This is Andrew Elwell. He started on June 17th, and I did talk to his FTO, and he's doing a marvelous job, very energetic. He's actually doing a good job learning our streets here, so...
He's from Bluffton.
From Bluffton, yeah. And
This is great because this is the kind of young officer that Decatur should be proud of to have, that wants to serve in this community. I mean, he's got an impeccable background. He actually sought us for this job. He saw a lot of our Facebook postings on our new young officers, our new equipment, and also met one of our officers at a security detail, and we even had lunch with his lieutenant colonel, Chuck Goad. I used to work with him a long time ago in Fort Wayne. Gave him just a thumbs up. We didn't hire this guy. There was something wrong with us. So he's been doing a great job. In fact, he just told me tonight that his wife is almost going to get employed at the hospital here. So
Great.
So I'll let you.
Andrew, would you just, I don't want to put you on the spot too big, but just give us a little background on yourself.
Well, I'm 24 years old. I'm married with a 5-month-old little boy. I'm from Bluffton. I've lived there practically my entire life. I've been in law enforcement essentially since I was 18 years old, starting in the jail for the Blackford County and Wells County Sheriff's offices. I've been a full-time police officer now for the last year and a half. I graduated from the Indiana Law Enforcement Academy at the beginning of this year. My prior agency was the Montpelier Police Department down out of Blackford County. It's a smaller agency, a good community, but I'm just kind of looking for something a little bit bigger, something to build my experience. As I said, I'm from Bluffton, and I'm just kind of a small-town guy, and as the chief said, one of the big things that attracted me to Decatur was the social media aspect of it. I see a lot of things on Facebook, a lot of the community outreach, and I thought that was just phenomenal, and it seems these days that a lot of agencies don't have enough of that, and with the way things are today, it's just, you have to have public relations, and it's just nice to know that we have the motivation outreach to our community, and that was just one of the biggest things for me to come over here. I've been on the street now for a couple weeks, and I'm very, very, very happy with everything. I have great supervisors. The community has been very accepting, very, very polite, very, very nice, and it's been, I feel very accepted. So, kind of a quick overview for you.
I think you'll do well, Andrew.
Appreciate that.
Really glad to have you here.
Thank you, sir.
I know my wife met you down at the plaza here a couple of weeks ago, and I guess you two talk like you're long-lost friends. I mean,
She was really excited to see pictures of my little boy.
yes, she was. So, thank you. Thank you, Lonnie, for bringing him in this evening. Any council members have anything for Andrew while he's here? If not,
Just good to meet you.
Yep.
Glad to have you.
Appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Thanks for your service.
Yep.
You have another one sworn in July the 10th, Eric Mitchell.
Yes.
Talked to him today. He wants to start now, but I said, can't. July 15th he can. So we're filling him up, so with some good young talent.
Sit there and look pretty. Jim's going to take your picture.
July 10th.
Got him, Jim?
I got it.
All right. Good. Thanks, gentlemen. Okay, next up, at our last meeting, we discussed a pending ordinance, or an introduction of an ordinance for the establishment of an arts commission, a non-reverting public art fund. And we went over a little bit of it at the last meeting. We discussed about the various entities that we would want represented on that committee. Originally, what Cameron had proposed in the ordinance was to have one representative each from North Adams Arts Council, Decatur Sculpture Tour, Cultural Connection, Decatur Parks and Recreation, and the City of Decatur Redevelopment Commission, for a total of 5 members. Wiley had asked suggested that Decatur Main Street be another entity that would be added to that. Going back to the original, there were 5 entities there. In addition to that, it's a 9-member board. 1 member would be a representative appointed by the Common Council. 1 representative would be appointed by the mayor, and 2 representatives who are practicing artists or design professionals would be appointed by other members of the commission once the commission is established. if we would add Decatur Main Street to that list and make it 6, then the representatives of practicing artists would have to go down to 1. Or we could remove one of the original 5 and put Main Street on there, but I'm comfortable with, personally, I'm comfortable with the 6 entities. And I was tasked 2 weeks ago to contact these agencies to make sure that they're on board with participating with a board member, and I talked to Arts Council, Sculpture Tour, Cultural Connection, and the Park and Rec. I did not get a chance to talk to redevelopment, but I don't think there would be any opposition there, knowing how cooperative they've been in the past. And so with that, I want to open this back up for discussion.
Do we need to have some sort of clause? I mean, what if one of those organizations closes or fails?
Goes bye-bye?
Yeah. Or consolidates, right?
Mm-hmm.
Does there need to be some type of provision for that?
Probably should put something in there that says, in the event the organization ceases to exist at the point where they're required to make an appointment, that appointment would fall to the other members or to council, however you guys want to do it.
My thought would be if we were to, because there's appointment by council and an appointment by the mayor. I mean, the council could give up their appointment. I think it's important to maintain the local artists. I mean, we have a lot of city entity. We need them. I still think the 2 that the other members vote on are captured from the community. I think that's important to keep. I wouldn't want to give up one of those. And the permanent entities, Park Department, Redevelopment Commission, I mean, they're not going to go anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So a mayor's appointment, if we were to include Main Street and we were to give up a council spot, right? But then we can make a provision that says that if any of the 6 organizations
Should fall.
cease to exist
Yeah.
or
Merge. Council would appoint that person.
or fail to provide, then that would fall back on council's appointment. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So you're saying include Main Street and then we fall back into this with it?
Remove the council's appointment.
Well, all the other people are appointed by the mayor anyway. Let's just remove the mayor's appointment. You've got everybody else on there. You got the park boards, you got the redevelopment, you got...
I appoint the park board, and I appoint those members. However, that board then would select who from that board would represent that the Arts Commission. I wouldn't select.
Only reason I say that was that if we've got to vote on the budget for this thing as council, it would probably be wiser because he doesn't have a vote in council.
That does make some sense.
Yeah. Trying to think of how the other ones are made up. I mean, Redevelopment Commission, they're not members of other organizations. They're representatives. Well, the only representation they have outside is North Adams, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody else is appointed by the mayor and or council. I could go either way. I mean, it doesn't make. My whole point is if we get, I think either we remove the mayor or the councils. I would rather preserve giving them the freedom to get 2 of their own members from outside of their, with specific to the arts community. I guess.
What about? Let me throw another just a question. There are a lot of boards around Decatur and Adams County that we all sit on. Okay. Should this board have a representative from council on that board? Or should the mayor be? I mean, I know we're all excited about being on more boards because we're all one person.
Couldn't the mayor's appointment be a council member?
And the council could appoint one too. You could, but I think if I understand what you're saying, Cam, is that you want people that are directly involved in the arts to sit on this commission.
I agree.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I agree. But so many times, and we all know that when you're sitting in board meetings, and they'll look at you and say, what do you think the city would say? Or what,
I agree, but I think there's somewhat of a having been in that position, I think there's somewhat of a conflict of interest for a council member to be a part of that organization, to be making a pitch to council.
Because then you have to recuse yourself.
If the council's going to vote on the budget, I really think it needs to be separate entities.
Good point.
I agree with that too.
And you're absolutely right. And the reality of it is the organizations that we're talking about, a lot of them have bleed over anyway. And there is a chance that we're going to have duplicate representation because one person sits on multiple committees. But for growth perspectives and for those organizations to continue to grow,
My personal opinion, I think it would be great if the Arts Council brought nominations to council, or made a recommendation.
of who we should appoint.
Yes, so we don't have to get involved with it. But
Oh, you mean from our appointments?
Yeah, I'm thinking,
Yeah.
leave it up to them
But I
to
think
make it
Yeah.
request and
You like
appoint.
that idea, Greg?
Commission
That's
bring,
what I'm thinking.
you mean the art commission bring to, like, for the council's representative?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, let them handle that. I think that's why we're doing this, is so that we can stay in arm's distance, but then have an opportunity to budget for this, to pay for it.
So,
Am I getting out of line?
What, no, I want to make sure I understand what you just said. So are you saying it's just on the council's appointment, or are you saying for all?
Councils.
Well, we've switched conversations.
Yeah.
It's been down this path, it's going different directions a little bit, and one of the things is maybe council should appoint there should be somebody from council appointed, or I say no way.
No.
Right.
I think that maybe they ask us for an approval on one, or
That
they
council.
recommend something for council's approval for something.
Okay, what I wanted to make sure you weren't saying was that every appointment would be ultimately appointed by council.
No.
Okay. You're just talking about the council's appointment.
right, so with that, I would go back, and maybe I'm going to reverse what I said before. I think if we're going to remove either the mayors or the councils, remove the mayors, keep the councils, we don't have to put language in there that says that they're going to have to bring approval to us, but we can rely on a recommendation. It's ultimately it'd be council's approval, and that would be somewhat of a representation by council on the commission as well.
In essence, what you're saying is the 5 members, because of their involvement with the arts to begin with, could say, we'd really like council to appoint this person who's also involved, and as long as you're comfortable with it, that's your appointment.
But we
That's
don't,
what
we're not, we
the
don't have to.
the library board does that. There's, the school district suggests a person, there's different entities that suggest to the library board.
So let's review.
I guess that maybe I'm reading this wrong. I thought it was you guys just picked from these 2 entities. You guys pick one representative either from the North Arts Council
It's those 5
to add up to the 5.
Members shall consist of the following representatives. 1 representative from each of the governing bodies of North Adams Arts Council.
There's 9 total,
Right.
not 5 total, 9 total.
Yeah, there's 9 members
So
total.
you're adding these are also.
Yes.
Okay.
So basically, the only change we did was put Main Street into it as an entity.
There would be 6
6.
committees represented. There would be 1 representative appointed by the Common Council, which would be a referral from the existing...
I wouldn't even put
You
that.
wouldn't even need to put that in.
Okay, just 1 representative appointed by Common Council. And how many does that make? It makes 7. 2 representatives who are practicing artists or design professionals appointed by the other members of the commission.
So you're left with 9.
Yes, so we're left with 9.
And because you do have, say, on,
Some of the appointments to park and redevelopment.
Yeah. And then as you see item E, it says additional individuals may be included on the commission in an advisory role and may not vote. Advisory members may include, but not be limited to, individuals with specialized expertise such as city staff representatives, public education professionals, and members of the city board of commissions. When I contacted the original agencies up at the top there, it was suggested to me that we, encourage or invite, that the board might seek out and invite a or some high school students. If we want to engage them, let's start there.
I mean, that would certainly be a way do that. They can seek out representation and...
Yeah. So those were that was really kind of the
Well,
big thing.
there's one other thing that talked about where they had to live and be resident of the city.
Yeah.
What did we decide?
I don't think they need to reside in the city.
Oh, yeah.
If-
One of the few people like Curtis Rose, Janet Torson, or Connie Mayer,
Yep.
all are
Rural.
obviously engaged into the city
Very.
and live just outside.
A lot of people live outside the city limits. I think that they're,
Are in the best interest.
I don't know how you want to have it read, if you want it to read a Decatur address, I mean, it's a 46733 zip, or if you want it to be an Adams County resident, or it could be a Hoagland person that is really totally engaged and that's not in Adams County, so
Just scratch it out.
just scratch that out.
Yeah.
Okay. Got that, Tim?
I'm looking, where is it?
32083.
Mr. Mendez now lives here, but
So you're
you
saying,
were a Fort
just
Wayne
take out
resident.
that sentence that says, "All commissioners shall reside or own a business or property within the city at the time of the appointment and through their terms of office."
Yeah, yeah,
Just scratch.
because that just doesn't need to be.
That was stolen from Fort Wayne, and that's probably a lot easier for them to do that.
They got a little bigger territory.
They got a bigger pool to take from.
You pretty satisfied with that then?
I am.
You guys appreciate all your work on it.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tim.
Yeah, Melissa's waving her.
Yes, Melissa?
We kind of chatted about this a little bit. We have a lot of great representation on the sculpture tour, for example, but there's some bleed over into some of the other...
All the other,
all
yeah.
the other appointed positions. So is there a way to respectfully say
I
there needs to not be, we don't want to stack it heavy with representatives from all the organizations that all happen to sit on one board?
as respectfully as possibly, did mention that to each of these people as I talked to them. Now, beyond that, what more, can we do?
We would put in the ordinance that
I would hope.
not more than one representative from each organization can be represented on the board.
But
How about voting rights? Voting rights.
No, back up here.
I see what you're saying.
We're not that big of a community. There's almost has to be some bleed over of, if one person is from the sculpture tour committee is on this, and then the 5 entities together ask Greg Mendez to be on the committee, you're saying he can't be because there's bleed over?
I'm posing the question.
Yeah, well,
With the representation that's on there, almost every spot could be held by someone from the sculpture tour.
Could be.
Could be.
Yeah.
And I don't want any organization to feel like they are
Running the show.
responsible by the majority of representation being people being from one group.
Yep.
Yeah,
I say that trying to say that very respectfully.
Yep.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. I see that point. But I also say that we also have quite a few, we've got other groups there too, right?
Right.
You've got appointed positions, you've got Main Street redevelopment parks, which that representative very well could sit on one of those, but I think there's a balance. I think there is a balance. I think the biggest bleed over is probably within those existing art groups.
I think that would be difficult to really
Not
just totally prevent. I mean, and I understand what you're saying. I think groups need to be cognizant of that too.
I guess my other concern with that is that they might not be involved in those organizations now, but what if they're just serving a 4-year term, 2 or 3 years down the road, now they're a part of another group.
Or they could be in and out, or then they're not a part of a group.
If you're North Adams Art Council appointment, you should be representing North Adams Art Council, not the sculpture tour. You're not on.
You should be, but
I mean, it
sometimes
doesn't
it's hard to
Well,
differentiate.
and then if North Adams sees that this person is not representing,
Hold on, they're not representing, right?
They're representing the Arts Commission.
They aren't representing the Arts Commission. we're inviting them to be a part of it, but they're not. It's really, I think that, that's internal to the commission, that's internal to their bylaws to say, hey, if you're part of this, we're here for on behalf of the city of Decatur, not for our particular
Pet project.
And I think the way that we've worded the non-reverting fund would certainly preclude one organization from taking all, whatever money's available for a project or a program. Right, and that's got to be approved by council anyway. You're right.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I don't know. I hope there's enough controls in there. We're never going to be able to.
And in 3, 4, or 5 years, it can always be revisited. If
Well, and
that's just, we're updating ordinances all the time. So, I think this is a
Great
super
framework to start.
A great framework to start.
Yep.
And pushing just, again, the relevance of the arts for our community and recognizing that.
Increase our grade of all state. No.
all right, Tim.
Well, one thing, okay, so here's what I'm going to do, the way I see it, from what I heard. I'm going to eliminate the one sentence in section 3283 that talks about residency. With regard to the balance of that section, there will be 6 members appointed from the various governing bodies of all of the entities you described, including Main Street. 1 appointment by council. We eliminate the mayor's appointment. The 2 representatives will still be appointed by the other members. And then I'm going to add a sentence that says, you tell me if this is what you intend, if an organization identified in paragraph A no longer exists, the representative appointment of that entity will then be appointed by the common council of the city.
Can say no longer exists or fails to provide
A person.
a member.
Or fails to make the appointment,
Yeah.
I win.
If you can't do that, then don't do it.
Well, I guess that does, is this on a year?
It's a 4-year term.
It's a 4-year term, isn't it?
If one of these groups is no longer in 4
January, the
years.
starting of the term?
I don't know, wouldn't it be easier just to say within 90 days of
Yeah.
the appointment needing filled?
But
That would be if someone leaves
is
a
it-
little.
A required appointment.
the calendar year?
Within 90 days at the time that they lose it.
But I'm talking about the members themselves,
We want to stagger them.
right? But,
I did not put that in there, but I did think about that. Starting off with a handful of them being 2-year terms and the other ones being 4-year terms.
Right.
So that you had staggered appointments.
but those terms end the end of December?
It would be annual appointments, yes.
Well, I don't think it's, because you're saying that the chair will serve a term of 2 years.
The chair comes from,
I understand, but if you make it an annual appointment,
no.
No.
That's not close, man. That when appointments are needed,
When I say annual, it would go from
Then you
January.
can fill the
Oh.
appointment by
That's what I
90
meant by
days.
annual.
90
Okay.
days. That's what
January
Tyler
to
said.
December 31.
Fill the appointment in 90 days.
we're
for
talking
first
2
effective.
different things though here.
What is the other thing?
When you actually appoint, at what point?
well, you've already got language in here about staggered terms.
Yeah.
I thought we did.
Yeah, membership in terms says the term of office shall be 4 years and until a successor is appointed and confirmed, provided that 4 of the initial 9 members of the commission shall serve for 2 years until their successors are appointed and confirmed in order to achieve staggered terms of office.
But your 4-year term ends...
Begins
when?
January 1st and ends December 31st.
Yeah. That's where I was going.
Yep, okay.
I knew you were.
The rest of us were.
The term of office shall be for a 4-year term commencing January 1.
Calendar year.
And the chair of the commission will be elected by the members of the commission. The chair will serve a term of 2 years and shall be eligible for re-election to a second consecutive term. The chair may not serve more than 2 consecutive terms as chair.
And then the 90-day for if the group does not submit, they
Right.
have up to 90 days.
That's the second, part B.
Yeah, part B.
Get that, Shirluka?
No. Who's going to serve 2-year term?
What's that?
Who is going to serve 2-year term?
Well, that's a good point. I mean,
You don't identify which of the 4 initially is. My guess is what it was envisioning is that the 4 remaining appointments, when you only had 5 of the agencies, were the ones that were the 2 years.
their only term of 2 years would be their initial. Okay, when they come on the board initially, somebody would only serve 2 years, and then they would be back up for appointment all over again.
Can you just say that to be determined by the initial
Group.
Fine.
Voting officer, voting members?
Once the
Well-
stagger gets set up, it'll
Yeah.
run itself.
But that's going to require at least one of these groups to say, we'll appoint them for a shorter period.
I'd say Main Street's last.
They were last one in. It doesn't matter, right, Wes?
It doesn't matter, because you're still going to appoint
Yeah.
another person.
Still gonna have representation.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep.
There you go, Tim, Main Street, only you and the bottom.
And they can reappoint the same person.
Sure.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't think it matters. I think you leave it up to them. They
Yeah.
have to do it.
yeah. It's up to them. Comments from anyone present this evening? Speak now, because we may be making a ordinance out of this here sometime soon, so. Melissa,
27.
comments? Okay. Tim, you want to go over it again from the top?
No.
No. You want to introduce it?
I mean, do you want, okay, so you want to move forward on it tonight, or do you want to do it 2 weeks from now?
Let's get a clean copy and do it 2 weeks is my suggestion.
I won't be here in 2 weeks. That's fine. I'm good with it. I understand it.
I feel more comfortable with a clean
Clean copy?
copy.
That's fine.
2 weeks.
Okay, so, Tim will clean this up a little bit, and we'll review it one last time in 2 weeks from now, and then look for a motion to introduce the ordinance. So, by consensus, we good with that?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right.
And we could,
Great.
we'll just do the 2 and not actually pass it. He can make that for
Pass it. Okay, that's that. That's the items that were on the agenda. Phyllis, did you have anything this evening that you needed to? Tim, did you have anything other than?
Hold on a second. That. Are you doing anything on,
Southeast?
yeah,
I was going to encourage all the council members to keep open ear for suggestions about Southeast Elementary. I guess, you know, since it was in the paper a couple weeks ago about it being offered to the city, I've been approached by a couple of people that, give me their opinions about how, boy, that school would be a great entity for this or that, a homeless shelter or this or that. And I agree with them wholeheartedly, but that's not really a city initiative. It would need to come from some agency or not-for-profit or something. So I encourage everyone to keep your ears open and anything you hear, let's discuss it. I don't want to see that building get demolished. It's too good of a building to get demolished. I'd like to see it be used for something, but I don't know if it can be a city building. I don't know, Tim, this is something maybe you can check with Mr. Ainsworth on. If the city accepts that building and we want to in turn turn it over to someone else, can we only do it by way of allowing them to use it, or can we in turn then sell it very cheap, or do we have to go through the appraisal process and only can sell it for, I know that, I think there's some state laws to that, right?
Yeah.
But there's some other ways around it?
There's certain...
Which is something like we did with casting site.
Right,
Yes.
there's certain things that you can do. If it's surplus property, you have to go through the same process that you did with casting if the value of the building exceeds $25,000. But there are other situations, limited instances, where the property could be transferred to, I'm not sure of the exact language, but certain types of not-for-profit entities or a school, an educational facility, something like that. I think there's exceptions to having to go through the bid process like we did for casting. So, at that point, if you had somebody interested that would fit in one of those exceptions, you could consider doing that.
Okay. So yeah, just everyone, keep your eyes and ears open for discussion on that. I wanted to report that this past Friday we had something new. It was thanks to Kevin Hackman, Melissa Norby, Katie Schum, Ann Razzo, and Luke Ainsworth. Those 5 people, along with myself, became a committee, and we organized I guess what we call it was the inaugural Mayor's Golf Outing as a fundraiser for Hannah Nutman. And it went great. I mean, we were blessed with some good weather. It was hot, but at least it wasn't rainy, and we had a little breeze. We had 30 teams participate in the outing, and everything just couldn't have went any better. I had nothing but great compliments on it, and I believe that we're still kind of totaling things up, but it is looking right now that we're going to make an excess of $15,000 to go toward Hannah Nutman. So, real happy about that.
Great.
Yeah. And while talking about Hannah Nutman, I think all the excavation and demolition that's been taking place over the last month here has kind of shed the light to the community that, hey, this is really going to happen, because the donations are coming in. We're starting to see a lot of that, plus the fact that we have the patronicity going on right now with the doubling of all the donations.
What's the deadline of that again?
So we've got plenty of time. We're going to exceed the amount.
Patronicity.
Yeah.
What is that?
We have 2 months,
2 months? Okay.
but we're going to exceed it probably within the next week, I would guess.
Okay.
But that's okay. We'll still take more money. Like on Madison Street, where we wanted to raise $50,000 and get matched with $50,000, we actually raised $72,000 and still got 50, so, but we can't get more than, and they're pulling it up right now. We are at 39, so we're 80% there. With 46 days to go, so but I don't want to discourage anyone from giving after it hits 50. Keep giving, but I think that the fact that the demolition's been taking place, it's really made reality set in, and like I said, the donations have been coming in. I could share some stories. I'm not going to right now, but there's some stories that go along with some of the donations that are touching. It's really cool. So the groundbreaking ceremony is next Monday evening, July 8th at 7. 7 p.m. And I encourage everyone to come to the groundbreaking. We actually have a drone photographer coming to take a aerial photo of everyone looking up that's going to be at this ceremony. We want to get that photo made into some type of a poster and or posters, and maybe display one out at the park, maybe display one in one of our local establishment, restaurants per se, or somewhere where the community will see it, and it'll be one of those things that my grandkids can look at their children and say, look, there's me right there. I was there. It's part of history. If we had something like that from 50 years ago when they originally built, and we will have for this one. It's going to be a piece of history. All the pictures that we shared from the excavation and the Rube Wynn days and the early days, the Mike Strickler hitting the first home run ball and all those things. It's all history. So we're starting a new piece of history. I'd love to have 1,000 people out there. I don't know if we can do that, but I'd love to have it. And talked with Lenny about traffic control. Hopefully we'll have to have a little help from his people that night for some traffic control. So that's my report on Hannah Nutman. I'm just excited about it. I'm excited that things are going so well. I keep referring to it as Hannah Nutman. The Hannah Nutman is the park, but it's the new Rev Sports Complex at Hannah Nutman. And there's Mike with his two grandsons, and that's the original baseball that was hit at Rube Wynn Field 50 years ago this summer. And we also have the newspaper article that goes along with it. I think it's a cool story. That's all I have from the mayor's report. How about going back here to Les? You got anything tonight, you or Jim?
Just, it's fireworks. Be careful. We are within that
Window
of opportunity. But, things are complaint driven, so just keep in mind that number one, the debris is supposed to stay on your own property, and if you're annoying the neighbor, you can be paid a vision or a visit by Lenny's guys.
If people have complaints about the fireworks in their neighborhood, call the police. They don't need to call us. Just call the police.
Yeah, and it's not true that the best fireworks come from the guy that might patch and free. Be careful.
And what if it hasn't, and it is going to get really dry up in the top?
Yeah.
People got to watch.
Yeah. Lenny, how about you tonight?
Just real quick, a local businessman donated $5,300 to the police department, which bought us a lunch car system for our new cars coming up. Wow. And I just got word last week when I was in French Lick that a local foundation is going to give us another $5,300 for another watch for the system.
That's fantastic.
So that'll really help our budget when the new cars come in, which I just found out today from Chris Bright. They won't be here till about September.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you learn anything at French Lick?
It was a good training program, but I lost about $150.
You'll put it all on black? Keep that off the
I
record.
came this close, going to the ATM, but she would kill me. She's already mad, I was sitting.
Well, you came home and took her out then for her birthday, so that's all
Yeah, we
good.
didn't
That's all
talk
good.
about that, but she had, there's your headline.
Kevin?
Groundbreaking for the new water plant a week from today, the 9th at 2 p.m. down at the site. You're all welcome to join. Exciting, they're already starting to put dirt out there and get some surveys and stakes laid out where things are going to be. They're start coming together real soon.
Okay. And again, Kevin, thanks for your help with the golf outing. Did a great job. Kurt? Don? Jeremy?
Quiet.
Come on.
Very quiet.
Carrie? Bill?
Fine.
Melissa? Brielle? Young man, we got a guest here this evening. You have anything?
No.
Just visiting. All right, anything from council members?
4th of July, we've got the Bulldogs,
Oh, yeah.
as seen in the newspaper and on the radio. Bulldogs start at 7. Food vendors will show up between 2nd and 3rd on Madison, about 5 o'clock. Thanks to the police, we've got security. Thanks to the fire department, we got the misters with the water that'll be up there. Thanks to the city crew for taking care of the barricades, which will be not set up tomorrow, but be close to being in place. So thanks again, and then after from 7 to 9 will be that show with the Bulldogs, and then we'll have a American Legion color guard, or what do you call it, the post, their ritual that they have every 4th of July. Fireworks will actually begin at 10:10 promptly out of the Riverside Center. We'll also have some food vendors over there that will be setting up in the late in the afternoon over at Riverside also. I don't think the Riverside Center will open up until 5 o'clock though for restrooms, so I just wanted to share you that.
Well, while you're thanking all these other people for their help, thank Wiley for all the fundraising that you've done. I mean, a year ago we had the announcement that, you know, and the confusion of people thinking it was the city that did fireworks. You guys jumped in last year, raised some funds, and this year I think you've raised a good amount of funds. And
Yes,
from
we
what
have.
I have heard from you, we're going to have a real nice display of fireworks.
I just got the list today from Tim
Bonka.
Bonka? Yeah. He came in and dropped that on the desk, and it's going to be a cool one.
Yeah.
It's going to be neat.
So, I mean, the fact that
It's
we
gonna be
have
there.
the Bulldogs playing on the plaza from 7 to 9, and then the American Legion ceremony, and then the fireworks, I think Thursday night Decatur's the place to be.
Be a fun full pack.
Yeah, that'd be great. Anything else, council? Any motions?
Got a motion to pay the claims.
Second. A motion and a second to pay the claims. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
And a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you.
Good.